5th day of May, ladies and gentlemen. You know what happens on the 5th day of May? I married Isis on the 5th day of May. Cinco de Mayo for our Latino friends. Well, I guess not our Latino friends, our Mexican friends. Cinco de Mayo, 5th day of May. Spring is slowly creeping towards us, ever so slowly. If anybody has any idea what the heck is going on with worldwide weather, I am all ears. Welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, and this is another live edition of Fire Your MD Now. Danielle Funk from Team Glidden. How's that for a last name, Funk? I'm surprised she's not a doctor, right? Dr. Funk, right? That would be great, wouldn't it? She writes, "Oh my God, my mother-in-law is getting some Cal Toddy tomorrow. I never thought I would ever see that happen. I guess she's starting to wake up like the rest of us. It's really a great feeling to actually help someone like this. I'm excited for a change, and I have a few other people that may join us as well. I hope so. I love helping people feel better, including myself. LOL, thank you, Youngevity." And that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen, just like that. Excitement, motivation, anticipation, and that just all around good feeling that you get from helping somebody. I mean, just helping somebody sleep through the night, for goodness sake. Helping somebody go through a 12-hour day, an 18-hour day with just a little bit less pain, or, as is often the case, no more pain whatsoever. Helping people to be able to safely, effectively, and affordably come off of all prescription medications safely. Yeah, emphasis included, safely. This is the thing. We've been convinced by 100 years of, more or less, of 80-plus years of pharmaceutical profiteering, that the only way to have health is through prescription medication, right? Better living through plastics. Better living through prescription medication. Well, it's a lie. It's not true. It's become reality by consensus. It's that way because everybody thinks that it's that way. Pharmaceutical industry has become a runaway train, completely uncontrollable. When they screw up, when they kill people, they're too big to fail. So the government gives them a pass. Same way what happens when the banksters rob us. They give them a pass. Not so much for the little guy, the little girl, the little man, the little woman. Not so much for, John and Jane Doe. We get ground to dust beneath the wheel of economic hardship, ladled on top of medical dis-ease management. And this is what we're up against here all around the world. Everybody's sick, everybody's tired, and everybody's sick and tired of being sick and tired, and everybody is broke. Well, the 1%, they're laughing all the way to the bank, but even the 1% can't avoid the grim reaper if they go against the laws of nature. And that's what naturopathic medicine does, right? This is where the term naturopathic medicine comes from. Let me spell that for you. Naturopathic. Now, if you're from the United Kingdom, you pronounce that naturopath. But here in the good old US of A, it's naturopath. That's what I am. I'm a naturopathic physician. The initials after my name and my colleagues' names are ND, stands for naturopathic doctor, not MD, ND. And what's the deal with naturopathy anyway? Well, naturopathic medicine, most people misunderstand the term because they'll think and they'll tell you without even thinking twice about it that naturopathic doctors are only trained in natural therapeutics, whatever the heck that means. An herbal tincture is not a naturally occurring substance. I mean, if you just pick the herb out of the ground and ate it, that would be a naturally occurring substance, right? But when you take a plant out of the ground and you cut the leaves or the stems off of it, or you just use the roots, and then you dissolve it in an alcohol solution or an aqueous solution or an oil solution, and then you put it through a couple of other chemical conversions, that's not a naturally occurring substance. It's a man-made substance derived from a natural substance. It's not natural medicine. All homeopathic medicines, 100% of homeopathic medicines are not naturally occurring. There are no homeopathic medicines which grow out of the ground or which are deposited in the earth, by the genesis of rocks after the Big Bang. All homeopathic medicines are man-made, 100%. So it's a confusing term, but not if you are among the Illuminati, not if you are among the initiated, not if you're a Dr. Glidden insider. You'll understand that naturopathic doctors are trained in therapeutics which support and promote the body's natural, emphasis added, natural ability to fix itself. This is what naturopathic medicine espouses. This is the fundamental foundation that all naturopathic philosophies or naturopathic treatment strategies are based upon. This is the philosophy that naturopathic treatment strategies are based upon, the simple notion that the human body is endowed with a God-given intelligence. Your body is occupied by some type of spiritual essence, some type of soul force. If you're a religious person of any ilk, if you're a Jew, if you're a Buddhist, if you're a Hindu, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian, if you're a Catholic, it does not matter what your religious persuasion is. Every religion has as part of its philosophical underpinnings a fundamental belief in the existence of the soul or the spirit, and that something happens after death. Your reality is not this body. What did Yoda say in Star Wars? We are not this fleshy body. Beings of light are we. And it's a cartoon commercial. Completely made up science fiction thing, but it's a point well taken. This really underlines the fundamental foundation of all religions all around the world, that there is more to life than meets the eye, that there is a spiritual essence which is inhabiting the human body. And you call it whatever you want. We believe, naturopathic medicine believes, that this spiritual energy, this unseen vital force, if you will, lends to the body an innate intelligence, that it is an intelligent force. It is an intelligent force which guides and directs all the multitudinous manifestations of the biochemistry of your body every millisecond of every day. Science refers to these processes as autonomic, right? It's stuff that happens without your conscious control, like your heartbeat happens without your conscious control. Sugar going inside the blood cells is sugar going inside every cell of your body. That happens outside of your conscious control. There's millions, if not billions, of biochemical reactions taking place every second of every day, all of which are outside of your conscious control. And how about the growth of the body? How about the growth of your body from a single-celled organism into the magnificent manifestation of you? Well, naturopathic medicine argues in its foundation philosophy that the human body is endowed with a God-given intelligence, and this intelligence directs all of the material orchestrations of the human body. So it then becomes the job of the naturopathic physician to be trained in the application of science-based and clinically verified therapeutics, the intention of which are to support and promote your body's ability to fix itself. And this is the beauty of the naturopathic approach, because it uses the scientific method to prove the intangible. It uses the scientific method to prove that, well, son of a gun, guess what? When you give the body adequate amounts of calcium and salt, son of a gun, the heartburn goes away, and here's the mechanism through which that happens. It proves that, son of a gun, when you give the body sufficient amounts of magnesium and calcium, the blood pressure normalizes, and here's the biochemical pathway through which that happens. It proves with science that selenium supplementation at 200 micrograms a day reduces the incidence of breast cancer by 82%. It proves that adding essential fatty acids into the diet, omega-3 and omega-6 essential fatty acids, eliminates the risk of stroke. This is the skill set that we bring to the table, but because this is anti-establishmentarianism medicine, not on purpose but by default, We're only anti-establishment because the establishment is in the monopoly and the establishment is wrong. We're just stepping up to the plate and saying, you know what, 2 plus 2 is 4. The MDs have been telling you for 100 years that 2 plus 2 is 5, and you've bought it hook, line, and sinker. This is what we're up against. Truth versus untruth. You want to call it good versus evil? I'm down with that. I believe that, the pharmaceutical industry is inherently, the medical industry is at its roots an evil organization. I do. I could lay the whole thing out for you if I wanted to, but that's just speculation, rampant speculation on my part. The fact of the matter is that you only need to ask yourself one question. How are you feeling? How is Western medicine working for you? How is taking the advice of your MD panning out for you? Are you healthier now? Are you better now than you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Do you feel like your health is plateaued and you're on a really strong, even keel? Or do you feel like you're getting worse and worse and worse and worse every year? Do you need to take a prescription medicine to fall asleep, a prescription medicine to wake up, a prescription medicine to pee, a prescription medicine not to pee, a stool softener? A prescription medication for your heartburn, a prescription medication for your blood pressure, a prescription medication for your non-24, which is a made-up disease, by the way, a prescription medicine to breathe. Well, look, if you're all good with that, if you feel really pretty great, and if you love your doctor, and if you're happy with the results, then God bless you. But if you're not, which is where most people around the world are, you have come to exactly the right place, because we take a stand for, guess what? Science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition therapeutics, the intention of which are to support and promote your body's ability to fix itself. And that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Today is the 5th day of May, 2014. Stick around. Gail from California is up when we come back. That's the way we do it. One healthy start pack, one selenium, and some sound dietary advice at a time. Let's go to California and see what's cooking with Gail. Hey, Gail, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, nice to talk to you.
Well, thanks so much for the phone call. What part of the great state of Cali are you calling from?
Oh, I'm down here by Mickey Mouse in Disneyland, Anaheim, California.
We were just there.
Oh.
So you must have come to see us, yeah, when we were down at the Longevity Convention in Anaheim?
No, I actually just heard from a good friend who I was talking to him about my health, and he's a friend of, he's a son who's, he's trying to get a business started with the longevity.
Oh, very good.
And yeah, Greg Lees is his name, and he told me to call in to ask you, because I said to him, I'm interested in the product, but my doctor tells me not to do any of the homeopathic things. I have hepatitis C.
Well, number one, all right, so how long have you had hepatitis C?
Well, they discovered I had hepatitis C in 2000.
Okay, one of my best friends in the world has been dealing with hepatitis C for 30 years now, 30 years. He's alive and doing well because he's been following my advice for 30 years. All of his friends who also developed hepatitis C at the same time that he did all died. He's the only one of his coterie that's still alive. And, my advice is give your body nutritional support. Stop eating food that's gumming up the works. Get out of the way. And, expect a miracle. Now, we don't treat hepatitis C, okay? We don't treat illnesses through the agency of longevity or through this radio show, because that's illegal. What we do is offer people advice for stuff that they can do with science-based, clinically verified, holistic therapeutics, the intention of which are to support and promote your body's ability to optimize its structure and function. Now, helping the liver is one of the easiest things under the sun to do. You can surgically remove over 70% of the liver, and guess what? It'll grow back. The liver has a very sound, fundamental, impossible-to-break mechanism for self-regeneration. If I had to choose one part of my body to break, it would be the liver, because the liver is arguably one of the easiest, well, it's the easiest organ in the body to break. And so liver support is really, really easy. So, but this begs the question, Gail, how much do you weigh?
I have recently lost quite a bit of weight. Right now I weigh like 167.
Okay, great. So here's what I would do for 90 days. Every month for 90 days, I would follow this advice. And while you're following this advice, I would look to see how it affects my mood, my energy, my sleep, my appetite, your weight, and everything else, right? This is a kind of an across-the-board holistic support, right? So we expect positive things to kind of show up in many different areas of your life within 90 days. So here's what I would do. Do you have a pencil or something to write with?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I would do, every month for 90 days, I would do one anti-aging healthy start pack. One anti-aging healthy start pack. That's the original formula. One anti-aging healthy start pack, original formula.
Okay.
3 selenium, SELENIUM, 3 bottles of selenium.
Mm-hmm.
2 bottles of Prohoba Hepol. Prohoba is the company name. You spell that Projob, like baby, A. Prohoba is the company name. Hepol is the product. H like Harry, E, P like Peter, O-L. 2 bottles of Prohoba Hepol. 3 selenium. 1 anti-aging healthy start pack. That's a really good place for you to start. Now, the next thing you need to do both of these things, because if you just do the supplements but you don't clean up your diet, we're going to be kind of running around in circles and we're not going to get anywhere. So there are 10 foods you need to eliminate from your diet, and you can get that list for free on my website. Just please visit drglidden.com. That's drglidden.com. Scroll down on the front page until you see a document called Good Food, Bad Food List. Click on that and eliminate all 10 bad foods, and then call me back on about the 5th week with a report. But here's the last thing I want to tell you, Gail. Your medical doctor, your MD, has no training, no experience, no appreciation, and no respect for homeopathy, for medical nutrition, for herbs, for anything other than drugs. So to take your MD's advice for anything but drugs is a fool's errand. So call your MD back and go tell him to pound sand. Follow our advice and see what happens. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. For those of you not of Mexican descent, that's May 5th. Which, doesn't mean a whole lot except spring, baby, spring. I'm looking out my window right now, and the buds are finally budding on the trees after a long, 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 long winter. Tobian from Nebraska is up. Let's see what's going on there. Hey, Tobian, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. Thanks for taking my call today.
Sure.
I am following up with you after I spoke to you while you were at the Longevity Convention about a week ago. You were talking to my friend Shannon from Texas. Oh, yeah. And you had suggested with my asthma that I start taking 12 EFAs a day and adding OsteoFX 20 minutes, 1 ounce, 20 minutes before bedtime at night, and see how that worked.
What happened?
I did really, really well about day 4, and then till Saturday, which would have been day 7, I started kind of wheezing again and having some shortness of breath. I'm doing better again today, but slowly it's getting better. So I wasn't sure if we needed to tweak it or what your suggestion would be at this point. And then
Yeah. We always tweak it, you bet. And I appreciate the call, right? That's why we exist. So, let me get this straight. So, for the first 4 days, when you increased the EFAs and you took the Cal-Toddy, the liquid calcium, before bed, your asthmatic symptoms improved, right?
No, actually, it was OsteoFX, and then there was no improvement for the first 4 days. I was still wheezing for about an hour and a half a night. I was trying to avoid using my inhaler just to see organically how my symptoms would progress or not progress.
Okay, very good. What happened after day 4?
Day 4, I was good. No shortness of breath, no wheezing. Day 4, 5, 6, and then day 7, I was kind of short of breath and a little wheezy, but not terrible, just kind of a little bit of a backslide.
All right. So when you were on day 4, 5, and 6, how good was the improvement? Was it 10% better, 50% better, 80% better? How much better were you on day 4, 5, and 6?
I would have to say at least 80 to 90.
I love my job.
It was good. It was really good.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And when you slid backwards, how far back did you go?
I would say probably back to 40%.
And when was that? When was day 7?
Day 7 would have been Saturday, and then I had a little bit of improvement yesterday, and then today I'm pretty good again. I wouldn't say that I'm at 90, but I would say at least 70 to 80.
All right, so then probably what happened is on day 7, you ate something that you had an allergic reaction to, but it's not the typical, like allergic reaction that we've been educated to think about, like the kid eats the peanut and his throat swells up and he dies, right? It's not that type of an allergic reaction. This is called a delayed hypersensitivity reaction, and it's mediated by a part of the immune system called IgG, like Gary, immunoglobulin G, probably. This is a difficult thing to do because I can't even remember what I did this morning, let alone what I did 3 days ago, right?
Yeah.
So if it happens again, so all that there is to do is to maintain the discipline.
Okay.
And look to see how you do. Now, healing of a chronic condition like this, how long have you been asthmatic, by the way?
Probably 9 years, 10 years almost.
Well, okay. So the old-time naturopaths always said that as kind of a hallmark, it takes 1 month for every year that you've had the condition to get completely on the other side of it. So I would expect total 9 months here for you to be like, the asthmatic lung condition, thing of the past with, optimal lung function without even thinking about it. And between now and then, it's going to be a roller coaster of sorts.
Okay.
You're going to have bad days, you're going to have good days, but it's a roller coaster where the bumps get smaller and smaller. So when you do have a bad day, when you do regress a little bit, it should be a little bit less than the last regression and a little bit less than the last regression and a little bit less like that. And you should have more and more and more good days and fewer and fewer and fewer bad days as you're, marching forward here. And this really underlines the difference between managing your symptoms with inhalers.
Right.
Or, drugs, and actually healing the situation, right? Healing's a process. There's going to be bumps along the road. But as long as there's a net positive improvement every month, more good days of breathing than there were the last month, then we're on the right track. And the only other thing that I can recommend that you do is when you have a bad day, you want to look to see the stuff that you've had to eat that day or drink and write it down. And then just keep a running list. And then the next time you have a bad day, write everything that you had to eat down and compare notes and see which foods were common to those lists. And you should be able to determine which foods will set you off. And this is a thing not only for asthma, but also for allergies, because we've been so brainwashed by the pharmaceutical industry to think that, you need your nebulizer, you need your rescue inhaler, you need your antihistamine, right? You need whatever.
Right. Yes.
That we think that it's the pollen, right? Or we think it's something environmental. And, often there is an environmental trigger, but if it was the environmental trigger that was the thing, then everybody would have asthma. Everybody would have allergies because everybody is exposed to the same stuff. Well, everybody in your community anyway.
Right.
But it's the food that's the trigger. It's the food that's the trigger. And usually it takes about 30 minutes. You eat something that your body just doesn't like, or you drink something your body doesn't like, and then 30 minutes later your breathing starts to go. And because it's 30 minutes later, we're not inclined to put 2 and 2 together, so we miss it, right?
Okay, right.
Yeah, so if you're just mindful moving forward, you'll be good to go. You may want to also, as a little experiment, the next time you get an auto ship order, switch out the EFAs and see if you get a better result. I would play with the Omega, Prohoba Omega. I would get some Prohoba Omega. And I would mix and match that, or just do 100% Prohoba Omega 1 month with the EFA Plus, and that's the one you want. You want the EFA Plus, okay? Or the Prohoba Omega, or a combination of the two. Okay,
and a combination. Okay. While I have you on the line, I wondered if I could ask you one question about my husband with cholesterol, if that was possible.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have watched your myth-busting, the cholesterol myth-busting, and he has had high blood pressure since high school. We're both about 40, and he's been on high blood pressure medication, and they've since, in the last, 8 years, put him on Lipitor. He went to the doctor the other day and, checked his cholesterol, and his combined cholesterol level number was 128.
Yeah,
I'm trying to convince him that he should wipe the slate clean, and so I just would like to know if you could comment to what's coming down the path with the cholesterol with him and the side effects it's going to have on his liver, and any suggestions you could give me to give me.
Well, there's no problem there, and I'm happy to do that. So you want to have him watch the webinar that I did, okay? Yep. All right. You want to buy him a copy of the book that Ufi Ravenskov wrote, and I think I referenced that in the webinar. There's a Russian doctor. His last name is Ravenskov, Ravnskov. He wrote a really good book. He did a meta-analysis of all of the research ever published anywhere since recorded history having to do with blood lipids, and compared it and couldn't find any relationship between cholesterol and heart disease. It doesn't exist.
Right.
It doesn't get more comprehensive than that. But number 3, we're really pragmatic common sense here, which is one of our strengths. So all of our hormones are made from cholesterol. That's what they're made from. And our central nervous system is made from cholesterol. So when our cholesterol is lower than nature wants it to be, we start to get hormonal problems, and we start to get neurological problems. The way that hormonal problems usually show up in men is they get something bad with their sex drive. Like their sex drive just isn't what it used to be, or sex performance just isn't what it used to be. And I got to tell you something, it's not the aging process. It's just lack of cholesterol, because guess what? If you're a man, your body needs cholesterol to make testosterone, and if you're a woman, your body needs cholesterol to make progesterone and estrogen and everything, right? So, and the next thing would be memory. So you want to look to see, if his short-term memory is not what it used to be. Any of these things starting to go downhill would be an indication that his body is struggling with cholesterol, And really the only other thing that can dial this in for him would be data. And Ufi Ravenskov's book and my webinar is a really good place to start. But like I said, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And if he just, takes our advice for 90 days, just pays attention to what we recommend, and, eat a bunch of eggs and eat a diet that's high in cholesterol, eliminate the 10 bad foods, fill his nutritional tank up every day with the right stuff, he's going to love how he's going to feel, and his blood pressure is going to disappear. Because remember, the blood pressure and cholesterol are unrelated. They're separate and distinct issues. They are separate and distinct. They're unrelated. Most of the time, hypertensive events are caused by a lack of calcium and a lack of magnesium. So I love treating or helping people to normalize cardiovascular function, because it's the easiest thing in the world to measure, and you can just see the numbers come down every week. And, proof of the pudding's in the eating, right? So what I would recommend for him, if you can convince him to do the healthy packs, give him the original formula with the liquid calcium.
Okay.
Or break the packs up and get the Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0, but the liquid calcium, which is Beyond Osteo FX. And I would give him 1 bottle of Beyond Osteo FX per 100 pounds per weight, plus 1 additional bottle of Beyond Osteo FX every month for 3 months, eliminate the 10 bad foods. He'll watch his numbers drop. And maybe if he sees improvement with blood pressure numbers that he's been battling his whole life, then you'll have an intellectual foot in the door, and he can start to wrap his mind around our cholesterol conversation.
Perfect.
Right.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
All right, Tobias, it was a pleasure meeting you. Keep up the good work down there. Remember, you are the last best hope your community has, and I mean it. I'm serious, man. So enroll. And remember, the secret to showing people longevity is just point. Right? Look, I know a doctor that says you don't have to suffer with that. If I lend you this DVD, will you listen? If I point you to this webinar, will you listen? And that's how we're going to change the world. Appreciate you, Tobias, and keep up the good work in the great state of Nebraska. And I can't remember if I've ever lectured in Nebraska. I think I might have lectured in Nebraska a number of years ago. So many places in the United States, so many suffering people, so many people that have been completely mesmerized and confused and co-opted, quite frankly lied to by the pharmaceutical saw boss. It's just a very humbling experience to be amongst the people who are the vanguard of this new information, and that's what this is. This is the tip of the spear, ladies and gentlemen. This is not old-fashioned nutrition. This is new-fashioned, science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition, formulated and delivered, developed and delivered by licensed naturopathic physicians, one of whom has a book in the Smithsonian Institution. It doesn't get any better than that. Tell everybody in your life about longevity, because when anybody tries longevity, they feel better, and then we're opening the door just a crack into the undiscovered country of holistic health. Stick around. Jewel in Kansas is up next. That's us, sneaking around the neighborhood, spreading our message of health recovery through science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition, one person at a time. And it only takes 16% of the population, 16% of the population to be doing one thing for everybody in the population to start to do it. That is the point at which something that used to be counterculture becomes mainstream, when more than 16% of the population do it. So, how are we going to change the world? One person at a time. We're just inching a little bit closer every day to the 16% conversion day. And when we hit the 16% conversion day, OMG. Let's finish out the first hour with Jewel in Kansas. Hey, Jewel, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. How can I help?
My husband has severe plaque psoriasis, and my husband is, one thing about him is he's always been anti-medicine, prescriptions, so he's done only the ointments as far as medicine is concerned. He refuses to do any kind of injections, which is great. So I'm wanting to know, what can we do to get it controlled? He's had it for 7 to 8 years, and I would say 75% is covered. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's a horrible disease. It feels bad. It looks bad. You develop a kind of inferiority complex. It's a horrible thing. So from our point of view, plaque psoriasis is caused by oxidative damage to the skin. And the skin has 3 different layers, 3 main layers. It has a number of different sub-layers, but 3 main layers. And it's oxidative damage to all 3 layers of the skin, actually. Oxidative damage is caused by food and or substances in the world which are rich in a nasty substance called free radicals. Free radicals. The most common source of a free radical is an oxygen atom that has lost an electron. An oxygen atom that has lost an electron. And when an oxygen atom that's lost an electron is floating around your body, it becomes like metabolic Velcro, and it sticks to anything it possibly can. And when oxygen sticks to something, whatever it sticks to becomes oxidized. And when things become oxidized, they become destroyed. It's exactly the same process that makes wine turn to vinegar, that makes food go bad. that makes iron turn to rust, right? It's oxidative damage. It's everywhere all of the time. And it's such an overarching phenomenon in the world that physicists have given it a name. The second law of thermodynamics. The second law of thermodynamics states everything tends to dissolution and decay. Everything tends to dissolution and decay, right? Everything gets old and dies. Everything does. The mountains turn to dust, right? Everything gets old and dies. And one of the operative forces in the destruction and dissolution of everything on planet Earth is oxidative damage. Oxidative damage. So your husband's body has the lion's share of oxidative stress, oxidative damage. And usually in the human body, the main vector of free radical infiltration into the body is oil and fried food. Oil and fried food. Now, there are 10 foods that we've discovered that nobody should eat, and to a certain degree, they all promote oxidative damage. So we recommend elimination of 10 foods completely. 10 foods completely. And if he does that, he'll go a long way towards reducing the amount of free radicals that go into the body every day. Number one, that's very important. Number two, he has to strengthen his body's fire department, because the fire department of the body is what's responsible for putting out the fires of inflammation. And everybody's body has a weakness. Some people it's their heart. Some people it's their left knee. Some people it's their right kidney. Some people it's their skin. Some people it's their lungs. Everybody's body has a built-in weakness, which is in fact inherited. That's real genetics. You have an inherited weakness in your body. Apparently your husband's inherited weakness is his skin. And so oxidative damage shows up in his skin more than it does for somebody else. So to strengthen the fire department of his body, the recommendation is easy. It's 1 anti-aging healthy start pack and 2 bottles of selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. 1 anti-aging healthy start pack and 2 bottles of selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Have him do that for 4 weeks, eliminate the 10 bad foods, and then call me back and I'll tweak the program. Better yet, Jewel, have him call me back, because it's always better to get it straight from the horse's mouth. I appreciate you very much. Now go out there and get your husband's health back. Stick around, folks. Hour 2 coming up.